Good afternoon, YouTube. All right, so today I'm going to show everybody how to do basic baked lighting in Unity. Baked lighting is very useful if you want to save some resources, since dynamic lighting can be quite taxing, especially on the scope of your project or your computer that you're playing on yourself, or I'm sorry, creating on yourself. So, without further ado, we're going to dive in this. I'm just going to show a simple setup. I'm going to show you the basics to get it set up. I'm going to show you maybe a couple of things, and maybe we'll do a couple experiments, throw a couple sliders off in the wrong direction and see what we get. But all in all, at the end of this video, you should just know how to basically set up baked lighting in Unity, which is very useful for lighting, but not necessarily taxing on your resources. So let's begin. First, I got a scene here I created with some props, whatever, simple cube as well. This is just going to be a lamp right here. All right, and I'll go through. So most time, or usually when you start out, you'll get a directional light, which kind of simulates like the sun. So we'll go ahead and check that on there. And you see it gives a nice light, and it'll move real time with shadows, with layer objects or what have you, anything that needs to have a shadow while it's moving, or anything animated, dynamic. So then we'll just turn that one back off, and then we have our point light, which is a very basic. There we go. Oh yeah, sorry. All right. Okay, so first we have a point light. It's very basic. Think of it like a light bulb and a ceiling light or something like that. Just to go ahead and tweak the intensity here, and then the range. You see, you turn the range up, so it adds a nice ambient light if you turn it up really high. Especially, it's very useful, and it's not really that bad overall, like taxing and stuff. But it can sometimes just be too much for your scene or too little. You can break the rules with lighting, but sometimes you have to follow some basic rules and guidelines when it comes to it. It's just not going to work right. But anywho, so yeah, that's like a point light. So it's what I like it to use point lights for, is to put it inside of a model, like of a lamp, so it like lights up the inside, but it doesn't really bleed out everywhere else. Because then what I like to do then is I'll add a spotlight as well to give off that, make the lamp look like it's actually giving off light right here. Once again, it's another useful tool. Spotlights, you can also like change the cone. There we go. So you have this visual cone here. You can change the depth and the inner and outer spot angle like that. As you can see, just make it wide so it catches more of the area, but kind of like so it lines up with those diagonal shapes, or the lines of the lampshade there, so it kind of looks more realistic, or more believable, should I say. So then you can add in the inner outer cone right here, kind of like. But anyway, so these are great, fantastic lights, but these are all real time. I believe you can do these in baked, but for now we're just going to do the bake light, because I'm sure if anybody out there's been messing around with Unity, they probably tried to use the bake light, and you're like, why isn't it working like the rest of the lights? Well, to get a bake light to work, you kind of have to set up a couple things, real easy. But because bakelite is not a dynamic light or real time, what you got to do is you got to tell the game engine and the shaders that it basically, the light that you want baked, it has to quote unquote temporarily paint it on over the textures and then everything like in your scene, if that makes sense. I know that's probably not the correct way. I have weird ways for analogies, but it has to basically paint over it. So that way, anything that moves over it, it's not going to catch a shadow or be interactive for it. That way it's not going to be affected by anything moving in front of it. But it's great for like wide environment scenes or like unique setups and stuff that just dynamic lights are not necessary for. But let's go ahead and get the bake light set up. So first thing we're going to do is let's turn off these dynamic lights. Let's turn those off. Let's get everything dark here. So click that. I put ahead and chose it as the disc or the radius instead, but you can use that, or you can do a rectangle, change the size, radius. Oh, down here you can change the color, intensity, and of course your range, which the range is indicated by this line going down right here. So See, like right there. So I'll just do it at about 2.6. So it's just below the surface, and that works. All right, we will leave the intensity at 100. Make sure this says area bake. Now, before we do anything, you have to make sure that everything that you want in the scene to be affected by this bake light has to be checked as a static object. So you do is you'll click on an object, any object in your scene, whether it's the walls or the carpet or this couch, whichever, and you go up here to the top right in the inspector and you make sure that this static box is checked. So that way the engine knows to paint on that because it knows that that object will not be moving. So let's go ahead and in fact, let me just go ahead and click everything here. Lamp, room, cube. That's everything. All those. All right. And then let's go ahead and check. And it'll ask you if you want to enable facts project. Everything that you want affected, yes, it needs to be static. All right. So yeah, everything looks like it's been checked. All right, good. Now, let's go ahead. Click back on our bake light here. Oh my goodness, I cannot talk this morning or this afternoon. Okay. Now, what you want to do is you want to go over into your lighting options here. I had it on here as my own default layout. If you need it, just click over here, go to Window, and then go down to Rendering, and then you click Lighting right here, or Control 9 is the hotkey. I use this window a lot, as you probably will too if you're going to be dabbling in lighting and doing bake lighting. So I would recommend just when it pops out, go ahead and pop it on a tab somewhere. All right. So let's go ahead and do bake light maps. We got bake lighting. Good. It's checked. All the lights are off. I have everything: skybox, material, sun source, environment. I have all that turned off because I just want you guys to see the effects of the bake lighting. Okay. So everything's good. All right, let's go ahead. Control save, always control save, or control S, save. Let's go ahead and generate. So I clicked bake lighting down there at the bottom, and now it's doing its magic. Okay, finally got done baked. Here we are back. Oh, wow, that came out really bright. Okay, as you can see, it worked, but worked a little bit too intensely. So let's go back. Then one downside is to this is you can't see your tweaks in real time, unfortunately. So you have to like make a tweak, bake it, make a tweak, bake it. But at least with my experience and on my computer, whenever I do the initial bake is usually the longest, and then any little small tweak after that doesn't take as long. So let's go ahead and turn down the intensity, and let's get it down to about, let's try about 25%. Let's take it down and see what that does. All right, range. Let's bring the range maybe to, let's do 1.5. That should be good right there. All right, range. Okay, let's go back to our lighting tab here, and then let's click generate lighting and let it do its thing. Okay. Oh my goodness. Now that's a little bit too. As you can see, so a lot of tweaking, a lot of back and forth. All right, let's go back and let's tweak it again, and well, the range didn't help either, so let's put the range back at 2.0 maybe. Yeah, let's do 2.0, and then let's raise you to 50. And for right now, let's just click off on casting shadows. Let's see what this does. Right, let's see. Yeah, that's a lot better. Still a lot of work to be done, but now hopefully you'll get a better idea of how the baked lighting works in Unity, even though it still looks pretty rough on my scene here. So we just need to go ahead and just do a little bit more experimenting here with the settings. Let's add like a yellow, like a very slight yellow tinge, like kind of like old school, or older incandescent bulbs, even though they're still around. Okay. Cast shadows seems to make it not as pretty, but here let's switch the rectangle. bigger area here. Let's do 6 by, I'll just do 6 by 6. There we go. Let's see if this makes it anything better. Control S, always. Back to lighting, click generate lighting again, and let's see what we got. Excited to see. Oh my goodness, that is really bright. But it did fill out the room a lot better. So with that, and it looks like, you know what, let's put shadows on and let's turn down that intensity a little bit. And so, all right. Let's go, let's just do 10. Let's just make it like really low. Direct relative higher range. 2.1. We'll do cast shadows. And let's do just 5 by 5. 5 by 5. Generate that lighting again. And now we wait. Okay, now that looks a lot better. Still got some rough stuff around the edges, but like the corners and stuff. However, this looks a lot better overall. I just wanted you guys to get an over idea. So now, pretty much that's not real light. I mean, that's just that's fake light that's been somewhat painted over the existing textures to look like it's light. But like I said, I know that's probably not the proper way to phrase that or whatnot. I'm sure it's way different going on under the hood, but I'm just calling it as how I see it. Anywho. All right. So now, even though you can kind of see the light, it's a little unnecessary to have there, but you could probably turn the intensity down a little bit to where if you just needed like that particular scene to have a shadow, at least you could have, let's just say, for example, like there's a character running through here, through the furniture, run by, then you just needed a shadow to be cast, because yeah, if somebody ran right through here and there was no shadow at all, it would be kind of weird. But also too, since this scene is, you know, kind of set inside a small living room, you wouldn't really have to worry about having an intense shadow, but just a little bit, just to give it that little extra illusion, so you know that it feels like it belongs there and it's not just pasted on top as an after effect, you know. All right, so yes, that is how you basically do simple baked lighting. You add your baked light, ensure that anything in the scene that you want needs to make sure that the static check is right here. You want to make sure, otherwise the shaders, a Unity engine will not register it in the baked lighting map. As you can also see, it does take a little bit of trial and error to get one just right. I feel that the rectangle overall works better than the circle or ellipse model. So I recommend, if you have issues with the ellipse, just play around with the rectangular one. But there is a lot of tweaking, and you do have to kind of wait in between. So, but all in all, baked lighting is, like I said, a very efficient and cheap way to have light to like big areas that you need light without having to waste too many resources and computing power. So especially for big projects. Anywho, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My name is Tommy1, aka Spectre Mortis while gaming. I will probably have to nix that at some point. It's probably gonna get confusing, but anywho, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want any more videos like this, just please comment, like, subscribe. Help me grow this channel. I'm just a game dev and a game enthusiast that just loves to do experiment, show people how to do simple things, or anything really. Or if you got any games or projects of your own that you want me to play or check out, please leave a comment, shoot me a message, anything. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Take it easy. Catch y'all in the next one.